Morning. Good morning, Facebook. Good morning, YouTube. Good morning, guys. Good morning. I was just telling Instagram that I watched Versus Battle last night, and it was inspirational because I just was thinking to myself, how could we have a playlist without DMX? um, for those of you that watched, did you enjoy it as much as I did? Good morning, Ace. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I watched last night and was feeling like I could take on the world, even though it was 9 o'clock at night. I was ready to take on the world. But today's affirmation is all about patience. All about patience, and we've talked about every morning. We've been talking about different affirmations. How it's important to put in hard work. It's important to realize that we are love. Love flows unconditionally from us and back to us. All of these things, but none of these things will happen. We will never get to our end. We will never be able to see our hard work pay off if we do not find a way to have patience. Patience is so, so, so important. So, that's what today's affirmation is about. We're on day 23. Every day, I'm just so excited that this has gone as good as it has. Someone asked me yesterday, was I going to do an audio book? And I was like, no. And then I realized I've pretty much been doing an audio book every morning. So I definitely am going to work on that in August so that this can all be together, all the chapters, all the affirmations, all the breathing, all of it is together. So whoever mentioned that to me, thank you. I can't remember even who said that, but whoever did, thank you for pointing out that I was already pretty much doing an audiobook. So it makes no sense not to do one. So I'll definitely get that done. But I just want to thank you guys for joining me every morning. This has been a journey. Day 23, to me, 21 was a hurdle because 21, when you know you've been doing something for 21 days, it becomes a habit. Every morning, my body just automatically gets me up and I'm ready to get into the mode to meditate and to say my affirmations. I want to remind you guys, I was watching Rolling Out did a health IQ on Good Morning Jamal. I just finished talking about how good I felt last night watching Versus. I saw your story. You obviously felt the same, but I think I got to talk to DJ Battle. We got to do another, maybe a part 2 later with this, and make sure that we get DMX on that motivational playlist, because you cannot have a playlist that's motivational without DMX. I don't know how we did that. Just totally forgot. I forgot that DMX had so many hits. But anyway, back to this. 21 days creates a habit. We're on day 23, right? So we are, if you're following along, you should be used to doing this in the morning. You should be used to stating affirmations, and you should recognize your days going differently. I know that I definitely have. Some people that I have talked to that have mentioned they've been doing it along with me, have definitely mentioned having a difference in their day. So we are on day 23 from the book. If you do not have your copy of the book, what are you doing? What are you doing? Day 23, How to Win When Shit Happens. $4.99 on Kindle, $9.99 on paperback. Get your book. You can finish this along with us. And like I said, it's important for you to have this so you can refer back to it, because even though we're doing this for the month of July here every morning, you definitely want to have this for the month of August and every month thereafter, right? You want to have these affirmations and quotes with you to refer back to. So today's quote is, patience is a virtue that resides within me. Very simple. Patience is a virtue that resides within me. Patience is necessary. Our quote today is from David G. Allen. Patience is the calm acceptance that things can happen in a different order than the one you have in your mind. You guys get that? I'm going to read that one more time, because that is huge for me. That is huge for me. Patience is the calm acceptance that things can happen in a different order than the one you have in your mind. Why that's so important is so many of us, when we decide, especially people that are ambitious, like myself, you want things to happen a certain way. You see it, you visualize it, and you're ready for it. You believe that okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this. Sometimes things don't work in that order, right? When things don't work in that order, our ego, you guys know Dolce joins. Dolce loves to join for these, but he also wants to be the center of attention. So I have to allow him to say hello, say hello, say hello, say hello. Okay. All right. So patience is a virtue that resides within me. Patience is the calm acceptance that things can happen in a different order than the one you have in your mind. We all know how we want things to happen, and sometimes when things don't happen in that exact order, we can get frustrated, we become discouraged, we could get off track. Sometimes we even get angry and resentful. I know for me, I am so determined. I'm so ambitious. I get angry sometimes when things do not work out exactly as I want. Anyone that works with me or knows me knows that patience is something I struggle with. I want things to happen when I want them to happen. I want them to happen in the order that I want them to happen, because a lot of times we need certain things to happen in order to get to where we're going. But what I want to tell you today is that the universe and God, as I say, as I believe, knows more than we know. Sometimes things will happen outside of order. It's like that saying, sometimes things fall together so that something better can, sometimes things fall apart so something better can fall together, right? So sometimes things don't go as you want them, but it's actually going to work to your benefit, because we know our affirmation stated, all things are working for my good, right? All things are working. The universe is working for me. Everything around me is working towards me. So I'm going to read a little bit from today's chapter, and then we're going to do our meditation. Again, today's affirmation states, patience is a virtue that resides within me. Good morning, Desi. Good morning, good morning, good morning. We're on day 23. Day 23 from our book. Patience is a virtue that resides within me. And our quote for today is, patience is the calm acceptance that things can happen in a different order than the one you have in your mind. Unbelievable, because all of us know exactly how our lives should go, right? We all have them planned out. And guess what? They never usually work in the order that we thought they would. So the ego is the opposite of patience, which is why we must rid ourselves of it in order to establish mental stability. Yes, Dolce. You are probably silently rejecting the idea of having an ego. But believe it or not, we all have one. When we place time restraints on our goals, it's our ego suggesting that we should be at a certain place at a certain time. Patience assures us that hard work will yield a harvest in due time. Our ego suggests if we don't arrive by our self imposed deadline, then we are unworthy of and perhaps incompetent at achieving our goals. My granny didn't speak very often, but when she did, it was often to point out the mistakes of either my mother, myself, or one of her other children. I recall speaking to her as a proud college graduate and telling her my 10-year plan. I spoke with false confidence, speckled with the fear that if I didn't achieve certain goals by age 30, I wouldn't consider myself a success. My granny would laugh at my plan and tell me that it was nice to dream, but life doesn't always work the way we want it to. I'll be honest, her responses used to irritate me as I was in my early 20s and convinced that I could force my way to success. It took me many years after my grandmother had long succumbed to Alzheimer's, to realize that she did believe in me. Her words were directed at my impatience and not my inability to achieve my goals. I was right about the ability to force my way to success, but I was very wrong about putting absolute deadlines on both the long term and short term goals. My ego demanded that I accomplish certain goals in order to feel a sense of self satisfaction. That same ego would turn on me if life had other plans and make me feel depressed and or anxious at not being able to meet the self-imposed deadline. When patience is our tempo, We are content to continue putting in hard work and knowing that one of the laws of the universe is sowing and reaping. This universal truth allows us to live with patience as our guide, knowing beyond a shadow of a doubt that we will reach our destination in the perfect time. That actually, I forgot that I actually wrote about my granny in this chapter, and she's one of my favorite people. I miss my grandmother so much, but one of the other sayings that my granny would say to me every day when if I called her with an issue, right? My mother and my granny were the only people I had really in my life, and my uncle. Um, but they were the people that I would talk to when I had problems. My uncle was very busy. I had a very successful uncle that was a multimillionaire, but he was always flitting around and very, very busy. So my mother and my grandmother were my core people. If something was bothering me, I would call them. And good morning, Terry. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to day 23. Our affirmation today is patience is a virtue that resides within me. Sharing about my granny who actually succumbed to Alzheimer's, as I mentioned, but I would call my grandmother with an issue that I wanted to be fixed right away. Again, I've never been very patient. That's always been something I've struggled with. So I would call her and she would say to me, keep laying down and getting up. And I would get so upset. I'd be like, good morning, John. What are you talking about? Keep laying down and getting up. I want instruction. Give me something to do right now. Give me something. I'm very much like, if you tell me how to do it and I see that it makes sense, I'm going to do it because I want to add A plus B to equal C. Don't you please? And she would just say, Chris, laying down and getting up and you'll learn. It'll work itself out. Ugh, my God, that would drive me nuts. I never understood what she meant until I got a little bit older. You get a little bit older, you go through life a little bit more, and then things that I would be extremely worried about in my early 30s, in my mid 30s, I would see that it had worked itself out, right? Or what I was going through was preparing me for the end result. And I finally realized after a while, this was definitely not in my 20s, that life had worked itself out. What she said, keep laying down and getting up, just means that if you live a little bit, you're gonna realize why things didn't need to work exactly the way you wanted them to back then, right? I remember when I wrote my first book. I wrote my first book when I was 26 years old after my father passed. And I wrote the book at between 26 and 27. The next year I got a publishing deal, right? The publishing deal, all that stuff takes time. So it took about a year to work. It used to take time. Now things move a little bit faster in certain areas, but back then, it just took a while to get the deal. So by the time 27, the book was finished, got the deal around 28, 29, it was finalized, right? Again, just taking way too much time. I had the book turned in at 28, and I wanted the book to be out by the time I was 30. I wanted to be a published author by the time I was 30. So I had the deal, the book was written, the book was submitted, but because I was on with a publishing company, they have a schedule and a calendar. The book was slated to drop in January. I would turn 30 in October. I was living. Now the book was turned in, the book was done. I saw the title, I saw the cover. Everything was finished, but it was not set to drop until January. My birthday was October 3rd, and I was turning 30. And when I tell you guys, I was depressed like I don't know what. How foolish is that now? I look back on it, it's silly, but I was so depressed because I really, really had in my head that I wanted to be a published author by age 30. Now, technically, I was a published author by age 30, but I didn't have the proof. I wouldn't even have the books until January. So that's 3 months after my birthday. And I remember being just so upset and feeling like I didn't make my deadline and just feeling discouraged. Later, I was talking to my granny, and she again just, Chris, life doesn't always happen the way you want. Keep laying down and getting up. You did a good job. Ah, did not comfort my soul. Did not quell that ambitious rage that I had. But guess what? Book came out in January, and because it was the beginning of the new year, the spring, I was able to get on book tours. Everything was able to work well. I don't know what would have happened if it had come out in October, but the point was things worked out exactly as they were supposed to. I had to quench my ego. That was totally Crystal's ego that wanted the book to be out by 30. What difference was it going to make if the book came out in October or the book came out in January? Now, true, I might have been able to capitalize on Christmas sales, but the point is, everything worked out, and I just needed to be patient. That was all my ego that was saying, I have this goal that I want because I want to be able to be a published author by age 30. I want to be able to have my book in my hand by age 30. Totally Crystal's ego. So I want you guys to refer back to this. Patience is so key. As we know, hard work takes time. You have to plant the seeds that you want to get the harvest that you want, right? Plant seeds, and when you plant a seed, you put it in the ground, you water it, sunlight hits it, that seed is going to grow in due time. You can rant, rave, get angry, go out there, put more water on it, put fertilizer. It's going to grow in its due time. It is going to grow. It is going to grow, but it's going to take its own time. That's how we are. That's how life is. Let's breathe together. Let's go ahead and put this into plant this seed into our spirit. We're going to breathe together. Go ahead and take a deep breath in. Exhale. One more big deep breath in. And exhale. One more deep breath in. Exhale. Repeat after me. Patience is a virtue that lives within me. One more time. Patience is a virtue that lives within me. One more time. Patience is a virtue that lives within me. Take that deep breath in. And exhale. One more time. Take a breath in. Exhale. One more time. Deep breath in. And exhale. Patience is a virtue that lives within me. Take that deep breath in. And exhale. One more time. Deep breath in. Exhale. Last one. Deep breath in. And exhale. Patience is a virtue that lives within me. Patience is a virtue that lives within you. All you have to do is claim it, and it is so. Claim it, and it is so. I love you all. Thank you guys so much for joining me again. This has been day 23 on our journey. Remember to get your copy of the book. It's down here on Instagram, the website that you can go to get the book, www.howtowinwhenshithappens. How to Win When Shit Happens. 31 affirmations to build mental immunity in the midst of chaos. And that's what we're doing. We are on day 23 on our 31-day journey. Every morning right here at 7 a.m., we do our daily affirmations and motivations. I'm so proud of all of you that have joined me every day. I'm proud of myself for getting up here and sharing this with you guys every day. Patience is a virtue. Remember, you plant your seeds, you water them, you make sure they have sunlight, you make sure the soil is receptive, and you have to have patience. You have to have patience. All right. I love you guys. I'll see you here tomorrow at 7 a.m. Day 24. Let's get it. Let's get it. I'll see you guys tomorrow.